Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Deep-3 here on Friday, August 23rd with winnersandwhiners.com. Before we get into today's plays, we'll quickly discuss the elephant in the room here, which is the fact that I am not Scott Steehn, and he is currently on a two-day trip to Iowa for the opening of PointsBet's new sportsbook in Iowa. So now Iowa has two things that you can write home about. It has a sports book, and it also has the baseball fields from Field of Dreams. Either or, I hope he's having a fun time in Iowa, but the show must go on, and for that reason, I will be taking over for the Deep-3 for the next 2 days, as I will be covering my three favorite picks of the day. And with that being said, we're going to dive right into it here. In the first play, we're going to be giving out, these plays are in no particular order, I'm just giving it out based on how my notes are prepared. It's going to be on the Phillies -1.5, which is available at -113 on Pinnacle. Money has already come in a little bit on the Phillies, and I think it's completely reasonable. As the pitching matchup, you will have Vince Velasquez versus Hector Noesi, and based on that, we simply think that the Phillies have a massive pitching advantage and are just the better overall team. And to dive into the stats here, Velasquez has a 3.86 ERA against the Marlins this season. Meanwhile, Noesi has a 9.39 ERA as a whole this season, and in his first season of MLB action in about 3 years, he's definitely proven that he probably does not belong in this league. But either or, even if Noesi does struggle and gets pulled early, or even if he does pitch well, Miami's bullpen is also in the bottom half of the league, as Miami has the fourth worst bullpen in the entire league with a 5.13 ERA. Meanwhile, the Marlins offense has completely fallen asleep, as in their last 3 games, as they got swept by the Braves, they scored a combined 3 runs. Yep, you heard that right. Over a 3-game series, the Marlins managed to score 3 total runs as they got swept. They also got swept in the series before that. Now they return home. I don't think it really matters. The Marlins simply can't hit the ball. And the Phillies are entering this series on a high note, as they were able to sweep the Boston Red Sox in Fenway Park in a 2-game series. And they also enter this game off of a day off. Now, the day off, I think, is important because the starters are going to be more likely to play based on the fact that they were able to all rest yesterday if needed. Plus, the Phillies bullpen, after using Noesi and some of their after using Neris and some of their other key bullpen pieces in their last game against Boston, they were able to rest everybody. So the Phillies should have a completely available bullpen. They should have all the starters in motion today, based on the fact that they did not play yesterday, and I think they should take advantage of that and look to gain some ground in the NL wildcard race. The Marlins have nothing to play for. They're the worst team in the National League. They have the 4th worst overall record in the entire league. Meanwhile, the Phillies are 2 games behind in the wild card race, behind the St. Louis Cardinals to be exact, and I think that in order for them to make up that ground, they're going to have to take advantage of all of the inferior opponents they have on their upcoming schedule, and the Marlins are no exception, as the Marlins have been awful this season. However, the Marlins have actually been successful against the Phillies so far this season, so I definitely think the Phillies will not automatically assume they're going to win this game. The Marlins so far this season against the Phillies in 13 matchups, the Marlins are actually 7-6, so I definitely think that the Phillies will realize that the Marlins are giving them some problems so far this season for whatever reason, and I definitely think that the Phillies should come out focused in this one following a bye week, following a day off, and I think that they will take advantage and they will win this game by multiple runs. So the first play on the Deep-3 will be on the Philadelphia Phillies -1.5, and the best line available is at -113 at Pinnacle. Now the second play for the Deep-3 will be on the Cincinnati Reds team total, which is available at over 4.5 at +100 at 5 dimes. The pitching matchup for this will be Anthony DeSclafani versus Mitch Keller. We're going to skip DeSclafani because we're only talking about the Reds on this one. Keller has been terrible this season. He has an 8.86 ERA so far this season. He has a 13.5 ERA against the Reds so far this season. So the Reds have done really well against him. Keller, so far this season, he probably should have been demoted by now, as he has given up a very interesting 21 earned runs in 21 innings of work. Not something that's sustainable in terms of, maintaining an MLB career in the future. But either or, his last start, he went 4 1/3, gave up 6 runs. And the Reds also enter this game off of a day off. They are in pretty solid form after beating the San Diego Padres in each of their last 2 games. The Reds batters against Keller in their careers, very limited sample size, but overall, they have a .353 batting average and a .421 on base percentage versus Keller in 17 plate appearances. Plus, even if Keller gets pulled early, the Pirates' bullpen, which completely blew up yesterday against the Nationals, as they ended up losing 3 out of 4 in that series, the bullpen ranks 22nd with a 4.78 ERA, and Pittsburgh has given up at least 7 runs in total in 4 of their last 5 games. So, overall, I definitely think that plus 100 is a little bit low in terms of the line here, and I definitely think there is value on it. Plus, the wind will be blowing out roughly 7 to 8 miles an hour to right field, which could lead to a couple more home runs in PNC Park. Plus, the over is actually 11-1-1 in Pittsburgh's last 13 home games versus a team with a losing record. I know that stat doesn't completely convey the team total, but at the same point, if you have that strong of a trend, 11-1-1 in 13 games towards the over, I definitely think the Reds should score at least 5 runs in this game. Pittsburgh has mentally checked out of the season after the All-Star break as they continue to slump. The offense has also struggled lately. I was going to lean to the full game over here, but the Pirates have only scored 2 runs in their last 2 games combined, so I'm a little bit concerned about how their lineup is performing. But overall, the Pirates have lost 5 of their last 6 games. I think this team's mentally checked out. And the Reds, I know that they're also out of the playoff picture, but they are 6 games under. They're 8.5 out of the division. It's still hypothetically possible for them to get back into the playoff race. And I think that the Reds, so far this season, who have had decent offensive numbers against Pittsburgh in particular, I think they should be able to get over this 4.5. Plus, they're on the road, so they're guaranteed to get 5 at-bats. They're guaranteed to get 9 at-bats, I should say, and you don't have to worry about getting screwed over because of them being up in the 9th inning because they are the road team. So based on that, the second play on the Deep-3 will be on the Cincinnati Reds, team total over 4.5, which is available at plus 100 on 5 dimes. And the third play of the day is actually going to be on a preseason football game between the Buffalo Bills and the Detroit Lions. And in this game, we like the Buffalo Bills in the first half at -3, which is available at -120 at Pinnacle. And the main reason, I know some of you might be wondering, why do we like the first half over the full game spread here? And the main reason for that is based on the fact that the Bills have already announced that Josh Allen and the rest of the starters will be playing a longer portion of this game. Coach McDermott said earlier in a press conference that the starters will play longer in this game than they played in Week 2 of the preseason against Carolina. End quote. The starters played roughly 2 series against Carolina, so based on the fact that the coach already came out and said it, I expect Josh Allen and the rest of the starters to play roughly a quarter, maybe a quarter and a half, give or take. So Buffalo definitely seems like they're trying to win this game as they're going to be giving their starters added reps. Buffalo is 2-0 this preseason. Detroit is 0-2. Buffalo has also outscored their opponents this season in the preseason by a whopping margin of 38-9 in the first half so far in the first 2 games. Meanwhile, the Lions, conversely, have been outscored in the first half of the preseason so far, 37-10. And the main reason why we like the first half over the full game here is based on the fact that I'm not really a big fan of Tyree Jackson so far in his young NFL career, and I simply don't trust him in the second half of this game. Last week was not great. His completion percentage was under 50%. He threw an interception, no touchdowns. Matt Barkley's been decent so far in the preseason, so I'm fine with him coming in relief for roughly a quarter, give or take. But I'm trying to avoid Tyree Jackson as much as possible. In terms of the lines, the main question people have to ask is whether or not Matt Stafford will play in this game, and the answer is nobody knows. Matt Patricia has decided to keep it a secret on whether or not Matt Stafford will play in this game or in the preseason as a whole. He has not played in the first 2 games of this preseason. I think if Stafford is going to play, he will play maybe a series or 2 max, as he has not had any action whatsoever. Even if he does play, I expect him to be a little bit rusty as he has not participated in any game action throughout the entire preseason up to this point. But overall, the Bills have dominated so far in the first half of the preseason so far, where the Lions have been terrible in the first half of their games. If Matt Stafford does not play, you have David Fales and Josh Johnson as the quarterbacks on the depth chart. I actually like Josh Johnson in preseason. He's been around for an eternity. He's got some ability. I think David Fales brings nothing to the table. So I think if Stafford does not play, Fales will play the entire first half, Johnson will play the entire second half, and I will gladly fade David Fales against the Bills' starting defensive lineup in this one. So based on that, we like the Buffalo Bills at -3 in the first half, at -120 at Pinnacle. I think they should enter halftime with roughly a touchdown lead, give or take, as Josh Allen will be playing probably somewhere in the realm of 3 to 4 offensive drives, which should lead to a decent amount of points, as he has looked really solid so far this preseason. So the 3 plays on the Deep 3 will be on the Philadelphia Phillies -1.5, which is available at -113 at Pinnacle. The Reds team total over 4.5, which is available at +100 on 5 dimes. And the Buffalo Bills at -3 in the first half, which is available at -120 at Pinnacle. And those are the 3 plays on the Deep 3. In terms of the upcoming schedule, it's that time of the year again, as college football is finally upon us starting tomorrow, as you have 2 games between the Florida Gators and the Miami Hurricanes, and the Hawaii Rainbow Warriors versus the Arizona Wildcats. In terms of my usual spot on statsalt.com, so I gave out all the plays that I liked today, I'll come out with a special college football futures video later tonight if you want to subscribe to the StatSalt YouTube page and get some other information, or just honestly see some of my predictions on a daily basis. I will be giving out one of those videos, plus you have the US Open coming up, so stay tuned for that, as I will give that out on the StatSalt channel over the next couple of days. But I don't want this video to get too long. Before we conclude today's video, quick reminder of our sponsor, PointsBet, online sportsbook in New Jersey. A couple of great deals for you. Up to 2 risk-free bets up to $1,000 if you end up betting on any sport: college football, NFL, tennis, soccer, honestly anything. And you lose, you get your money back, which is a great promotion I wish more sportsbooks would use. Other than that, though, that's going to do it for this installment of the Deep 3 here on Friday, August 23rd, with winnersandwhiners.com. And good luck to all of you and your respective bets today. Bye, everyone.